Speaking of FISA, we want the documents. I talked about the FISA court warrant applications that Judicial Watch uncovered showing that the FBI and the DOJ under Trump, Rod Rosenstein and Obama were misleading the courts about what the dossier showed, about its origins and the biases of those who created it. They never told the courts Hillary Clinton was behind it. They never told the courts they were unable to corroborate it. They never told the courts and suggested that it was corroborated 3 different ways when in fact it was just the dossier being reported or repeated through other sources. And they would say we have the dossier, we have this report, news report that bolsters the dossier. They didn't tell the court the news report was based on the dossier. And then they say we have this other dossier, which of course was just a repeat of the dossier they were using to try to get the spy warrant. It'd be like you asking me, who are your sources? And I say I have 3 sources, me, myself, and I. I mean, that FISA warrant application was a self-looking ice cream cone. Circle within circles used to justify itself to the court. And we, of course, Judicial Watch uncovered, the court held not one hearing on the spy application targeting President Trump. Unbelievable. Dereliction on the part of the courts, in my view. But there's other aspects of the FISA warrant that were not released. I should have brought them out here to show you, but there are sections of the report that have yet to be released that those with security clearance like Devin Nunes on the Hill have reviewed. They're not classified, but they would, again, be scandalous because they would show misconduct in this FISA court application process. And there are other materials related to 302s of Bruce Ohr and other documents related to the Mueller investigation that need to be declassified and released. Now, the president agreed to do this in September of last year, September 17th, 2018. President Trump ordered the Office of Director of National Intelligence and the Justice Department to declassify the documents. They include the Ohr documents, as I talked about, the FISA warrant applications, FBI reports and interviews of prepared in connection with all the other applications. So the backup for the FISA warrants, and text messages of Ohr and Peter Strzok and Lisa Page and Comey and McCabe. But then the deep state stopped it. They went in and they persuaded President Trump, and I think they probably just said the sky will fall. And President Trump said, okay. And he said, I met with DOJ concerning the declassification. They agreed to release them, but stated that doing so, they may have a perceived negative impact on the Russia probe. Also, key allies asked not to release. Now, I'm convinced those are that's Great Britain and Australia, who, for those of you who follow the story closely, will know were also part of this anti-Trump spy operation orchestrated by the Obama administration, so they didn't want to be embarrassed. And then President Trump said, therefore, the Inspector General has been asked to review these documents on an expedited basis. So that was back in September. And even though the president said speed is very important to me and everyone, the documents have yet to be released. So Judicial Watch, which sued to get these documents and have been unable to get this additional material because of their classification, we're very interested to know what's going on about this effort to roll back President Trump's decision to declassify the Russia probe documents. So what do? We asked for the documents about that process at the Justice Department, and of course we were ignored, and so we've sued. And we have a lawsuit for any and all records concerning or related to the proposed declassification of these DOJ records as ordered by President Trump. So this is what I love about Judicial Watch. We just don't let things go, especially things important to the future of our republic, which is the misuse of our intelligence agencies to spy on an opposition political candidate. That sort of activity is supposed to go on in places like Venezuela, not in the United States of America. And it's no surprise the deep state does not want this material released to the American people. And they're going to tell the president and they're going to tell the American people, the sky will fall, people will die, cats and dogs will live together if this material is declassified. And we know that's bunk because President Trump has shown it's bunk by declassifying this other FISA court material that I've talked about. There was no good faith basis to keep it classified. And I guarantee you there's no good faith basis to keep the rest of this material classified. So I don't know what the IG is going to do. I don't know what the timing of this declassification is going to be, but we're going to expose the deep state effort at DOJ and FBI to keep this material covered up. And I would encourage, again, the president to declassify this material as soon as he can. He gave these folks plenty of time to do it. Well, why the delay? And I tell you what I suspect the delay is, because it would further undermine the credibility of that irredeemably compromised investigation known as the Robert Mueller Special Counsel operation. Because as I said, these FISA court warrants are key to his investigations. It would expose further reason to question why they were doing it to begin with in terms of targeting President Trump. And it's all been about protecting Mueller. Indeed, the president tweeted that the DOJ said it was about protecting Mueller. The president's between rock and a hard place. You know, everything he's saying and doing is allegedly related to obstruction of justice these days. He can't be president without obstructing justice. But he's got to be direct, and the best way to end this corruption is to shine the light of day onto it by authorizing the release of the information. Now, Judicial Watch has got the court cases, but if it's classified, we can't, you know, the courts rarely second-guess classification decisions by the government. We're not going to get anywhere. It's got to be declassified. And sometimes the court cases lead to the declassification because the government says, hey, you know what, Judicial Watch sued for this, it's declassified, it's classified, but we declassify it in response to the lawsuit. But that's not happening here because the deep state is desperate to protect the ongoing slow-motion coup against President Trump. So this is an important lawsuit to get at that. So a lot going on. And I know it may seem frustrating and overwhelming to you at times, but you should know that Judicial Watch is here to try to expose the truth, what's going on. And we're tracking it all. We've got dozens of lawsuits to expose this illicit deep state activity. We're holding Congress to account. We're holding the administration to account to the extent it's stonewalling our requests. There's no one who sued the Trump administration more than Judicial Watch. We're supportive of the efforts to defend the president from this rule of law assault, this effort to overthrow him. But the lawsuits we filed means that we've got to sue the administration to expose what's going on. The president, as I said, there's a seditious conspiracy on the part of many government officials targeting President Trump, and that means suing to find out what's going on. And so there's no one doing that like Judicial Watch is doing it. So we'll continue to be able to do it, obviously with your support. And as I said, you've got to get the word out about this. It's so important. Our republic's at stake, and we've got to protect the people that we vote for from being lawlessly removed from office.